Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
Yep. Hey, very good. Today's Wednesday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada's storage experts, more than 2 decades helping Canadians through life transition. Canadian storage provider. Be sure to buy Canadian. Thank you to everyone for listening across the Edmonton Sports Talk audio streams, edmontonsportstalk.com, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Apple Music. For those watching on YouTube, as well as anyone listening on podcast, wherever you get your podcast, thank you as well. Matt Awanek, Tom Gazzola with you here. Shawn, Belle's on his way, and we got a special guest, Brent Myhres.
We do a round of clicks, Brent. We do rounds of clicks.
Lots to get to with Brent on the show today, but he's also going to have a new drink that is launching this weekend, a non-alcoholic spirit, Unhammered.
Yeah.
Which is a great name, fantastic name for this. But Brent, welcome.
Thanks,
How are
man.
you?
Great. The last time I had clicks, it was would have been 1994. First NHL game.
Well, did you guys do clicks and...
Oh yeah. I think I put some big money on the board, like $50 back then. You know, first contract was $175,000 in the NHL.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then my last year in the minors, that's what my minor league salary was, $175. So it's crazy how and then Roman Hammerluck was the first pick overall that year. And I remember we went out for dinner and I said, hey man, how much because back then you got, bonuses, you still do, but you had card deals and stuff. And he goes, yeah, I think I'm going to sign. I'm going to get a bonus for like $350. And I couldn't believe he was going to get that much money.
Yeah.
But
he's first overall, right?
Yeah, but back then we thought 350 was like crazy money.
How things have changed.
It's just changed so much,
Still, what was it, 175 you said?
I made 175 my first year.
How crazy was that when you just first saw that on like the paper or whatever?
First check.
Well, and two, like American dollars. So, when I'm coming back, I get to go to the bank and exchange it. But I was 20 years old, and as soon as it was coming in, it was going out just as fast. I was getting loans from uncles and aunties at the end of the summer, and they're like, "Aren't you making NHL money?" I'm like, "Yeah."
And then you wrote a book.
Yeah, and then I wrote a book about it. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so good. Okay, I'm glad you brought up, like the Tampa days. I was showing this to our younger producers. YouTube Trev, Benny Thompson, and Zach. I had to explain to them, like, guys, the Lightning played at the Tropicana Stadium for a while. Were you playing there?
Yeah.
You played at Tropicana?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was St. Pete, the St. Pete Forum or whatever, the baseball stadium.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they put a curtain down that half of the thing, and we were playing in this baseball stadium, and it was like crazy. And that's when the girl goalie Mano Riom was there. And that's when we set a record, like 28,000 for an indoor game. And
if you see the photos, it's wild.
Yeah, it was wild. Yeah. And I just remember I scored my first goal there. It was a second game, and it was against the Flyers, and it was against Ron Hextall.
That's cool.
And I just remember when you turn around and put your hands up in the air, you see a big curtain. And you're like, what's going on here? So yeah, but then they made the beautiful Ice Palace.
Yes.
Right after that. So we went right in 96, we went right into the Ice Palace.
Is that where they still are?
Yep.
Yeah.
They've changed the name. It's like Amalie Arena now.
Well,
but
it switched from there. I think they should this year.
They renamed it again. Well, the name, but it's beautiful because it's kind of on the water there.
Yeah. You literally could I took my bicycle in the mornings for practice. I lived about maybe 3 minutes from there.
Yeah.
So it's still up. It's funny though, hey, when you think about it. So 96, we're talking 30 years ago. And what's the lifespan nowadays for buildings? Like how long did it take them to go from, let's say, well, I guess it could be a while, hey?
Yeah.
40 years, maybe?
Ottawa's getting a new one. Their building's 30 years old.
Yeah, they came in around the same time.
96, 95.
Tampa
96.
did.
Yep.
That's right.
Exact same time.
So maybe they're due. But then again, like, you look at the Rangers, I don't know if you guys... Hey, Bellsy! How you doing, buddy?
Just snuck right in, eh?
Yeah. When they did the renovation for $1 billion inside of MSG, when I walked into that place,
beautiful.
It was just stunning. Yeah. So maybe that's all you need is a nice reno,
Well, that's arenas seem to be, they last a lot longer. NFL and some baseball owners seem to want to just go Oh, yeah, it's been 10 years. Let's get a new one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, how much is that one in Vegas worth? Because I've never been in it, but I drove by it.
The football?
Yeah. Wow.
It was
like
$2 billion.
Oh no, bro.
More than that?
I think it was 4.
That would make
I
sense.
mean, it is.
That thing's unbelievable.
It is.
Yeah.
Have you been inside of it?
I haven't, no.
I just drove by it and I said, what is, like, that's where they play football?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how beautiful it is.
Yeah, it's wild what they do with these football stadiums.
Well, and then too, so like, let's say if you're Calgary, the Flames, right? Which I know that we're in Edmonton and all that, but what happens is, so the stadium here, Rogers, is how old now?
10.
We're
It turns
going
10 this year.
Well, yeah, they're going into their 10th season.
10th season,
Because it was
2016.
16 it opened.
That's
Okay.
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now we're
weird how
talking
that
almost a decade that Calgary has had to look at this plan and improve on it.
Yep.
They're not gonna build like they did in 2016. So when you see Calgary's arena, right? Every decade when a team builds a new arena, they try to mock somebody, but it takes so long to build. The plans keep changing a little bit. So
Well, and the person doing Calgary, what was her name? She used to be with Seattle.
Susan Darrington.
She's now there.
Yeah,
So somebody
really
who's
nice lady.
directly part of Rogers as it opens is now part of the committee in Calgary.
Yeah.
So she knows, okay, these things didn't work in the end, or these things need to be improved on. In the end.
that's right.
So they're getting to fully do that. I don't know
Trial
if it was
and
you or
error.
somebody else talked
Trial and
about
error, yeah.
her with like bathrooms, like
yeah,
adding more.
Yeah.
means
That's one
having
thing they
more
didn't do
that you
well
could
here.
switch.
yeah.
So that depending on the night, okay, these can now be women's bathrooms instead of men's bathrooms because we know we're gonna have more of a female crowd coming in.
Yep.
So those type of things that like they learned from the Rogers even going into this one.
Yeah, and again, by the time Calgary opens the doors, Rogers will have been open for 11 years.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, 2027, I think
Right,
they're ready
in 2
for.
years from now or something
Yeah.
like that.
Is
Yeah,
it 27, 28?
crazy.
I think that's the plan. And you're right, Brent. Like I was down there a couple weeks ago and I was asking about the new arena and they said that heavy emphasis was on pulling the best out of Rogers Place and a lot out of Little Caesars in Detroit, a little bit of Pittsburgh, a little bit of Columbus.
Oh, yeah.
Because actually Minnesota, Columbus, and you guys know those buildings, like those ones have held up really well.
Really well.
Yeah.
Beautiful, the way they did it, and they keep
Really
it nice
well.
and clean. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think Calgary's going to have a new facility. We need a new scoreboard here. That's something that's been discussed, and it's crazy. It's like, that scoreboard's amazing. It's like, well, you should see some of the other ones that are popping up now and the technology, and we're getting to 10 years, and it's kind of like, oh, yeah, we
Yeah,
are.
I mean, and the good news is that like you're dealing nowadays with owners that like aren't in Pocklington's situation where he's got to ship the best player on the planet away
Yeah.
because of financial reasons. That doesn't happen today. These guys are backed with lots of money. And if it takes, 25, 20 million, whatever it costs to put a new scoreboard up, bang, done.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
That's very true. Hello, Belzy.
How you feeling, Belzy?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I
Were
got
you
over
hammered or unhammered last night?
Good plug.
unhammered.
You're unhammered out of boy.
No, I was I was okay. I didn't really get after it because I knew I had to be up early.
Yeah.
And then
But did that ever stop you, Belzy?
it's never stopped me before.
I was
but
going to say,
I'm
I always
40
had to get
now.
up early.
I'm 40 and I'm getting smarter
That's
now.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. We're not
so I
20
decided
anymore.
again, like I got to get out of here because I don't want this to be a runaway. And I felt like it was going to start doing
It was going that way.
It was going that way. I saw people like they were settling in. I was like, "Okay, this is not going to be good." So
Well,
I lost it.
It's exactly why I made that drink.
That's
For
right.
the drinkers and the non-drinkers and the ones that don't want to get too loaded.
Well, we should talk about that.
Absolutely.
Well, okay. Well, you partnered up with one of our partners
Yeah.
that we've had a great relationship with. That's Alley Cat.
Yep.
And you're launching on the 19th at
Yep.
MKT. You're going to have a nice event there. Tell us like the essence of Unhammered and how it came to be and what people need to know about it.
Yeah, quite honestly, it's sort of all stemmed from a book that I wrote in 2021 called Painkiller. And I was getting all these questions throughout COVID and everything was shut down. And so I thought one day I just would like to address all these questions that have come in and these people that have wanted to know stuff. I thought, well, I'll do a podcast. What am I going to call it? Well, I don't know. I talked to my editor who wrote the book and he goes, well, we were going to call your book Unhammered. He goes, what do you think about that? And I go, yeah, I like it. So then I do the whole thing about the podcast, getting it ready, do that. And as I'm doing it, I had a situation in Vegas for my birthday a few years back where I had like probably 10 guys there for my birthday. And it wasn't that I wanted to drink, but I remember we were there for 3 nights and I was at the bar and I just felt uncomfortable. And I felt like I had to be acting like I was partying. And the only thing that I could grab that would make me feel that way, that was sort of cool to have in your hand, was Red Bull. So I drank like 35 Red Bull in like 3 nights. I was like, so anyways, I got home, I got a mini heart attack going on. Ambulance comes, no joke.
No way. I thought you were joking.
Bro, mini heart attack.
Jeez.
Anyways, so the doctor's like, have you done anything different in the last couple of days? I said, well,
let me tell you.
I go, I've been like smoking a pack of darts and like 15 Red Bull a night. And he's like, okay. So anyways.
I think we might know the cause of this.
Noted.
So anyways, they give me some Ativan under the tongue and it goes away. And so I thought about, man, you know, there wasn't really a lot of like sort of, cool options for non-alc, you know, and then a video came on 2 years ago, and it was the CEO of Liquid Death, and he said, "Listen, we didn't reinvent the wheel with water in a can, but what we did do is we focused on branding and marketing. Not that our water is not bad, but we did that, and we wanted to push the envelope on that because everything else was in plastic bottles. So I said, okay, here we go. So I said, I'm gonna do one. So then I got a hold of a design artist in California, and we worked on the design of the can and everything else. And then Cameron French from Alley Cat. Originally, it was just I wanted to get them to do the recipe, and then that progressed to where they became partners in the company, and they've been amazing to work with. He's an excellent guy, and so we just started pumping out the first. I think they did 12,000 cans in the last couple of days.
Nice.
So we'll be ready to go in 48 hours for launch party at MKT with my buddy Chris LaChancy.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun. Oh, great spot. How was it working with Alley Cat? Because, I mean, we have the familiarity with them, like we said, with 6 o'clock or lager. And
we mentioned some taste testing
we
for
did
ourselves.
taste testing.
Done that.
Yeah.
They take you around and everything. Like,
Well, guys, it's a tricky process, non-alcoholic, right? It's a way different process than regular beer. There's thousands of different beers.
yep.
So I had to keep my expectations at a certain level that you can only take a non-alc so far, because you're extracting everything from it and then you're putting some stuff back into it, right? But my goal was crushable. That when you're on the golf course, you're on a boat, or you're wherever you are, and you're driving, you know, and you feel like you want the taste of a nice, light, crisp beer. That's what my goal was. And so when I mentioned that to Cameron, he's like, I got it. He's like, you know, we've done a couple non-alcs that were flavored, and you know, this is going to be more geared towards Corona. And I said, oh, now that we're talking about Corona, I said, if you look at Corona on the bottle, it says it has vitamin D on it. I said, I want that in ours too. He goes, well, we've never done that. He goes, well, we can give it a go. I said, great. So anyways, they come back, they go, we've added the vitamin D. We've done this, we've done that, come taste test. So we went through 3 rounds of tasting, and through the whole process, Cameron has been, and their team have been excellent.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Well, I was going to say, like, it's cool how, like, you've gotten the logo, the branding, you've tied it all together. Bless you, Matthew.
Sorry.
Matty was a busy boy yesterday at the Estes. Yeah.
He's just sneezing on usually there's a cough button or something.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I was going to say, like, all of this coming together, like, you're the creative force behind it.
Yeah.
Like, did you expect to have a podcast, a book, a non-alcoholic beverage? Like,
That's a really good question, Tom. I think I did. I obviously didn't expect that I'd be like around. I didn't think I'd be here living.
Wow.
You know, I mean, you got to understand my journey. You know, there's multiple overdose, cocaine overdose, you know, ambulance rides, right? Where I
Scary.
almost didn't make it.
jeez.
And then I couldn't get this thing. I couldn't understand that it was a disease of addiction that I was dealing with. I thought it was a willpower thing of addiction. And hence the 4 rehabs that the NHL had to put me in. And then that still didn't work. And then so when there is no stage 5, that's a lifetime ban. In 2006, they gave it to me. And so at that point, when I was either debating on, I was literally looking at my life at 33 years old, and after what I've done and accomplished. And, I just remember I was on this bed. I was at a friend's place. I didn't have anywhere to go. And I was debating on, grabbing a gun at that point, because there was just no clear way out of this thing for me. Mm-hmm. And something just said, keep hanging on. And I did. And then I got arrested a month later by a couple of policemen. And then the league called me and said, hey, you ready to go away this time for a long time? And I said, yeah. I said, how long? And they said, Brandt, this time it really doesn't matter. They said, if you don't go this time, we know that you're going to be in the obituaries. And I had a real problem with that, because I had a baby that was going to been born. Mm-hmm. My daughter Chloe was going to be born, and in a week. So I'm like, wow, I got to get on a plane right now, and I got to go away. I don't know how long I'm going to be gone. My baby's going to be born in a week, and I knew that it was temporary. Chloe was forever. So I get on a plane and I go to Oregon, and they kept me in this rehab facility. They didn't keep me. I stayed, but NHL paid. I stayed for 8 months, which was, I kept saying it. Yeah. I kept, usually my stays were like max 90, and now it's 8 months. And I'm like, man. And I was ready to go home, and I had nowhere to go. I had nowhere to live. I had no money. And a friend of mine reached out and said, hey, you can stay in my basement. You don't have to pay me. Just go to an AA meeting every day for 1 year. And I got out, and I saw my baby girl for the first time after 8 months. And it was just like pretty emotional, because, I went through so much to be able to finally not only look at her in the eyes, but look at me in the eyes in the mirror and go, wow, I'm starting to respect you a little bit now, and then that led on to just putting one foot in front of the other. And the book came about by me. When I went into that last rehab, I grabbed my computer and a journal, and I just started writing. I said, maybe if I stay sober, I can help another NHL team. Mm-hmm. And then 7 years went by, and then I got a call from Dean Lombardi, and that lasted with the Kings for 3 years. And as soon as that job ended, it would have been a week later, Penguin Random House called and said, hey, we heard that you had some material. Would you consider finishing it? And I said, yeah. I said, sure, I need some money. How much are you going to pay me?
You need money for endeavors, right? Yeah.
I'm like, how much is my advance? And they're like, Brandt, you got to pay that back. And I'm like, oh,
Daddy wants a bonus.
I'm like, okay. Yeah. So anyways, took 2 years to write it. And then once that came out, the podcast. And so I guess I was trying to compress that question, the 3 stages in my life, into the answer.
It did, like you mentioned, it led to your time with the Kings. That was a unique and very new role in the NHL, and people really took note of that. Yeah. And like, okay, it was like recognizing where there was issues in the league, and then like it's not just hockey that has guys that like to party a lot, get into trouble and stuff like that. But it was like, one of the times hockey's like, okay, we're hiring Brent Myhres. He's going to make sure our guys are okay. If they need someone to talk to and out, he's the guy. Mm-hmm. What was that like for you, those years working with the Kings? And like, obviously you can't divulge like who you dealt with, why like, the things, but like, how did you find guys responded to you?
Well, I got to tell you, when I got that call in July, I was in Penticton, and back in the day, you had a BlackBerry, and the red light was beeping. I'm like, oh, it's one of my buddies. And it says Dean Lombardi on it, and it says, please call me. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. I've been 7 years waiting for this call. And he just said, can you get on a plane tomorrow and fly to LA? And I said, yeah. So I go in, and he goes, how are we going to do this? I said, right here, bang. I said, I've been thinking about this for a long time. And he looked at it. He goes, you think they're going to trust you? You think the players are going to trust you? And I said, well, you know, I go, it's going to take some time, obviously.
Just walk.
But,
Oh, sorry. This is Trevor. He's providing coffee to Belle.
hey, Trav.
Brent's telling a story.
It's all
Important
good.
story. Thanks, Trev.
Yeah.
That's how it's done, Jasmine.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Sorry. So we were at, I'm in LA. Oh yeah. I tell him how the program is going to, he goes, do you think the guys are going to try? Oh no, this is what he said. I'll never forget. Dean was sitting where Bellsy is, and I'm sitting here, and Rob Blake had an office right next to Dean. And he goes, Blakey. And then Blakey gets up and he comes in and he goes, hey, you know, Myhre's got this program here. And he goes, do you think that the players are going to end up trusting him or talking to him? And nothing against Rob's answer, because Rob goes, oh, you know, I'm not sure if they're going to. You know, the dressing room's really tight, and if they have problems, I don't know if they're gonna. And my answer was, well, Rob, this doesn't apply to players like you. This doesn't apply to 19 of the guys or 20 of the guys on the team. And that's what I said in my speech in front of those guys. Was like, listen, there's going to be 21 of you guys that'll never have any problems, right? But the 2 or 3 that will, that's why I'm here. And you leaders in the front row, I said, you guys are responsible too for those 3 guys, not just me, you know? And here's how we're going to do it. So I had a one-on-one meeting with every player at camp, and I brought them in a closed room. And I said, here it is. Here's the program. Number 1, I have nothing to do with management unless we get to stage 3, which is a red light situation, which means I've worked with you. You're not listening. You're still committing X and X and X, and I have to bring in the manager at that time. But up until then, me and you can go hang out and do our thing, and nobody will ever know about it. And they like that. They like the fact that they had some rope with me. And then when stuff did happen, like I got a call one night, it would have been probably 1 a.m, and it was a pretty nasty call. And I said to the player, I said, listen, I said, if we can't put this fire out right now, I said, you're going to be on the front page of the LA Times tomorrow. So we got to work on this now, right? So I talked to him for the next 45 minutes on the phone and got the situation settled down. And so I had to call Dean because I was supposed to go to Boston to go to the East Coast team. I said, hey, I can't go to Boston tomorrow morning at 6. I said, I had to stay back. And he goes, well, come see me. So I go see him. He goes, listen, he's smoking his darts in the hallway. He's smoking his darts. Eh? He's like, listen, I don't want to know who it is.
Oh my God.
He goes, but just how bad is it on a scale of 1 to 10? And I go, it was almost a 10, big dog. I go, but we got her down to a 7. And he goes, okay, good. He turns away, starts smoking as he's walking away.
Couple extra puffs on that one as he walks away.
So like a long one. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a drag of relief.
But what I will say,
Drag a lot of things.
But what I will say is, actually, that would make a great reel, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
A great TikTok reel. Just a big inhale. It's
only a 7.
It's only a 7. But I will say this. I will give it to Dean. He said, "Listen, I hired you to do a job, and you go do it. And if it gets to my desk, it's too late." At that point. And the program was great. And then I was eating Chinese one day, and all of a sudden my phone rings and it says Daryl Sutter and Dean Lombardi fired. And I went, what the fuck? Like, they're gone? Like, wow, okay. great for Rob. I love Blakey, by the way. Awesome guy. But when Rob came in, those weren't Rob's guys. Right.
Yeah.
And then Dean and Daryl were, and the thing about Sutter, which really caught me, there were so many things about Daryl that I could talk about. But the one thing that really stood out to me was it the next day after the firing? Yeah, it was. It was the next day. I was walking in El Segundo where they practice, where the arena is or whatever. And Daryl, I'm walking by and I look to my right and I see Daryl's office. And he's grabbing his Stanley Cup picture of the team off the wall and he's putting it in his box and he's putting all his pictures in. And I'm just sort of in shock, like wow. And I look and he goes, "Oh, hey Myhres, come here." And I walk over. He goes, "Listen," he goes, "if there's anything I can do for you, any referral that you need, you let me know." Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, wow, here's a guy that just brought 2 Stanley Cups to this team in 3 years. And you're asking how you can help me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to me, that was like, there's character and then there's character. And that to me said it all.
The Sutters are incredible. Sorry.
I gotta go.
Okay, Maddie's gonna step out. He might swing back in a little bit, but we're joined by Brent Myhres, Shawn, Belle, Tom Gazzola here on the Hangout. Go ahead, Bellsy.
Yeah, so obviously the role that you had was, in my opinion, is a very crucial role because there's so many players, like you mentioned. Yeah, hey, there's 20 of the 23 or 24 that aren't going to need the help, but there's those 3, and you took that on. And then it ended.
Yeah.
But across the NHL, you don't see that role very often.
Yeah.
And I guess my question would be why don't we see that role? Because we look at it and you've seen different instances and circumstances across the NHL for so long, right? Valerie in Dallas, well, that's a prime example of what you were doing in LA. He got to a point where now he's out of the league for a long time because
Nichushkin.
Right. He's got all these issues, and I feel like those could have been squashed if they had a role.
And
sure.
Formally, it was director of player assistance, right? Is that the formal term?
The role.
Yeah.
Director of player assistance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the next year, Brian McGrattan called me, and he just said, "Hey, Myhres, they want to do something in Calgary like you're doing in LA. Would you mind sharing with me what you did?" And I said, "Yeah, I can't give you the program." I said, "But I'm gonna give you the ins and outs of sort of how to act around the guys."
Yeah, that's your intellectual property, essentially.
Yeah.
Right.
I said, I'll get on a phone call with you, bro. But so I did, and they hired Brian in Calgary. So he was the second guy, and when the job ended and it was going well, and finally I was gaining trust with the guys and the players, and on the road we were, certain guys I was going out with and doing that with, and then all of a sudden the job ended. Rob wanted to, I guess, go in a different direction, and I thought that other teams would be wanting to fill that role, and they hire so many people nowadays in the organization to deal with mental health and that kind of stuff. And when you talk about addiction, it doesn't really matter what type of addiction it is. I think that if it hinders your performance in any way, on or off the ice, you got to take a look at it, right?
Yeah.
And these kids nowadays don't necessarily drink like we used to, but they do other things that we didn't do, right?
Yes.
So it's completely, the pendulum shifted to a different addiction. Whether you can go down the line with what it may be, and so it's been 2018. So man, it's been 7 years since I worked in LA, and not one team has called.
Well, and that's why I'm asking that question, because once again, I go back to looking at that role just for face value. I say, man, this is important stuff. You're paying these guys millions of dollars, and you want they're essentially your property as a team.
Yeah.
And you want your property to perform at all times, because at the end of the day, it's going to cost you money. So what I can't wrap my brain around is, why aren't we doing everything to protect those assets and make sure that they're constantly in a good state of mind and they're not having to worry about addiction? Because, hey, like, I can walk home and I'm going to try to hide stuff from my wife, or I can go to the rink and I'm going to try to hide something from my coach, or I'm going to try to hide some stuff from the players because I could feel embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
But if you have somebody there like yourself that's sitting there saying, okay, well, like, I can be that middleman, I can be the person that can help support you. Well, maybe that thing doesn't go off the rails, and now all of a sudden we're back, and you're in a better spot, and you're performing, and you're not out of a job. And I don't understand why more teams don't want to do that.
And if you look at the situation in LA, why I got the call was they had to pay out Richards.
Yep.
$20 million.
Yep.
Okay. Voinov got shipped back to Russia.
Yep. That was not a good situation. Yep.
And then, there's an incident with a gentleman that used to play in Edmonton here. So my point is, there's a lot of money there. They never got Voinov back.
Yep.
Right. And that was alcohol induced. So, and you're talking about 50 players now, not only in Edmonton. Where's their farm team?
Bakersfield.
There you go. Bang. 50 assets that you have.
Yeah.
Not saying I'm a miracle worker, but what I do know is that from experience, when I was going through my stuff, if I had a guy that walked in the room that played in the National Hockey League, went through what he went through, got sober, for instance, let's say a guy like Bob Probert walked in and had a program like that, you don't think I'd be calling Bob Probert asking to go for lunch or go to a meeting or go hang out together on the road? Of course I would have. I had nobody back then.
Yeah.
And now, they have these psychologists and all these people that they've hired, team psychologists and all that.
Yep.
The problem you deal with is that every training camp, and nothing against the doctors because I love them, they saved my life. But when you have doctors in suits walk in and do their addiction speech in the theater room, these guys are sort of listening, but they're not really listening.
Because there's no trust.
That's what I'm saying. But if you have a guy like Rob Ramage, who works for the Montreal Canadiens, come in and talk about what happened to him and his best friend, and when he went to jail, and he was a first overall pick in the National Hockey League. Guys, listen.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you have instant credibility. And that's where that role, whether it's myself, whether it's Jordan Tutu, whether it's Rich Clune, whether it's Sheldon Surrey, you can go down the line. There's probably 8 guys that could fill roles right now. And for some reason, nobody wants to reach out.
Are we sweeping it under the rug? And by we, I mean hockey. Like, are we sweeping it under the rug?
Well, it can't be money because they spend more money on bubblegum than what they paid me.
Yeah.
So it's like...
I'm laughing because it's true.
There's always bubblegum
Which
available.
bubblegum do you want? Hubba Bubba, or do you want XL? Like, I get it.
It's like tape and bubblegum. You've just paid for my salary. Yeah. So it's not about the money here, guys.
Right.
So what is it about? And the only thing I can think of is the minute that you hire me, you're admitting to something. We need this now in our organization.
Because there's a problem.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that now you're at the forefront of going, so let's say Stan Bowman, right?
Yeah.
Let's say Stan goes, Brantt, you know what? Currently, we don't have anybody, that we're dealing with that has issues. But we're a proactive organization. We want to get ahead of something before it even happens, especially in our minor league system, before these kids get up here, right? So if he comes out to me and says, hey, we've hired Brent Myhres to be our player assistance director to deal with any substance abuse issues with our team. What are the people going to think? Personally, I wouldn't look at that as a negative thing. I'd be like, wow, that's great. Good for them. They're actually going out now and they're being proactive with what they want to do. I wouldn't look at it as the Oilers have a problem. They're just enhancing what they already have in their certain roles that they have on the team.
It's a tool in the toolbox.
It's a good assessment. A tool in the toolbox. You may not need to use that hammer all the time,
but it's there.
But it's there.
And it's the understanding that all of a sudden you've got guys that it's a younger league than ever. So you got guys that are 20 years old going from basically making $60 every 2 weeks or 100 or 300 actually as a 20-year-old in the WHL, the OHL, and the Q, to making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Right? The habits change. Things are different. And having kids with money that don't necessarily know how to manage money, having people around to help navigate these roads for them, once again, to me, would be so beneficial for these guys?
Well, and that's what I told Dean. He said, "So how do you want to do this? Like when, how long do you want to come in? Like blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Well, here's the deal, man. I go, if I'm not around this team a lot, what's going to happen is they're not going to look at me as they're starting to trust me.
Yeah.
And if I come in once a month and they see me having lunch with somebody or talking to somebody, what do you think the guys are going to say?
That guy's messed up.
That guy's fucking messed up.
Yeah.
So I have to, it almost has to be seamless so that I have to, one of the hardest things that I had to do in LA is that they had this table at the practice rink where everybody had lunch after they skated, and usually just the players sat there. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going right in the middle. So the first day, I grab my plate of food and I sit down and I go, "What's up, man? How's the skate today?" I'm like, "Oh, good, Myhres, good. But my point was, I had to go, no, I'm going in right now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to see if they're going to open up a little bit. And then now you're on the plane and you're on the team bus after the game, and they're not seeing you as this guy.
Yeah.
They're just seeing Myhres, he's just here for support if somebody needs it.
Yep.
That's all it was.
And then, you sit at the middle of the table and then guy has a beef with it and you say, "Fight me."
Could you imagine that?
You want to throw down?
Could you imagine
see
that?
my tape?
No,
funny.
I could throw maybe 2-3 lefts today, and then the tank's empty.
Oh, man. It's the EST Hangout brought to you by Sentinel Storage. Tom Gazzola, Brent Myhres, and Shawn Belle with you. You can text us. If you have questions for Brant, fire those our way, 780-218-9999. If you're watching on YouTube, get into the nasty chat as well. Bones says, "I'm proud of you, Brant. I love the options you're providing and the example you sent, because you've been to hell and back, man. I know you, I haven't picked your brain too much, but I've read some of your book. You've told me stories. And I love how you connected, you're taking what you did with the Kings and then your podcast Unhammered. Man, you got Sheldon Surrey opening up to you. You got Carey Price, who's buddies with Bellsy, and
Price.
That's intense. And these are all-stars.
Yeah,
these were the guys that were the creme de la creme in the hockey world at one point, and they're telling you, "Hey man, I was vulnerable. I was not Superman." I think that it's an eye-opener for some. And how did you find connecting with guys?
Well, honestly, the podcast that I started in a little room in my basement or whatever, it was just meant for me to address the stories in the book. So every story that I've done on a reel or the podcast is literally out of the book. And so I got to 44 stories and then the book was done.
Right.
And but with Shelley and then with my buddy Joe, who's an actor in LA.
Yeah. I remember I watched that one and I'm like, who is he married to?
Sofia Vergara.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah. So, they were married.
Yeah.
But so Big Joe and then Shelley and then Pricer. I didn't know Pricer. I just reached out and said, "Hey man, if I rent a film thing and can I film it at your house?" And he's like, "Yeah, we'll do it in where I got all my stuff." I said, "Great." And then he opened up, so which was they all were pretty open.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people knew about Pricer.
I don't think he was that vocal with his rehab stint and stuff.
No.
Because quite honestly, I didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Until one of the guys from somewhere called me and goes, "Myhres, he might be a good guy to reach out to."
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm sorry. This how the Carey Price thing happened. It would have been about a year and a half, 2 years ago. This is exactly what it was. My phone beeps. And it's an Instagram message, and it says Carey Price, and I'm like, "What?" So I click on it, and he goes, "Hey Brant," he goes, "I just wanted to let you know when I was in rehab, I read your book," and he goes, "It really helped me, and it changed when I got out of treatment. It sort of gave me a blueprint on how to stay sober, and I just wanted to thank you." That's how it happened. And I go, "Oh yeah, no problem." And then 6 months later, I start the podcast.
Yep.
And that's when I reached out and said, "Hey, would you mind talking?" So.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where I continue to harp on it. Guys need that because I think it's really crucial. think about some of the cities like that are here, and hey, this is not a shot at Edmonton in any way, but like you can still get lost here in Edmonton. But like in Montreal, you can get lost. In LA, you can get lost. Like some of these places that are there, and
you have everything.
You have everything at your disposal at any point in time. And once again, it's not a shot at Edmonton. It's just not the same city with the same things that you can get into as in some of these other cities that are out there. And I think it's a real challenge for players, especially when they're at the height of it. They're the top players, and it's easy because it's okay. We're done practice at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. Let's go have a bite to eat, and then okay, we'll go have a couple beers. And then by the time you're done having those couple beers, it's like, oh, it's 7 o'clock. Like, well, let's keep it going. Like, and then it turns into something else, and it gets late, and
then the after party, and then you invite a couple waitresses over,
and then the iPhone.
Yeah,
right. We never had that.
Yeah.
So my Lord, like I'd be staying inside too. Nowadays with these kids, I'd never go out. Like if I was going to go out and really enjoy myself, you think I'm going to go out with everybody going like filming me?
No.
Yeah.
You know, so no wonder these kids they're actually changing their course. They'd rather be more private, order stuff in, get whatever they got to get, bring it home.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I don't blame them for doing that.
Well, I was going to say that's a great point because it has changed, and you're right. The phone has added a different element to things, and it's shifted the way guys do things. Could you see that during your time with the Kings? I'm sure guys still reach out to you too and have a lot of questions. Yeah. And like, did it make it challenging for you to kind of like, okay, well, I didn't do it like that because we didn't have the technology that exists now, but I can correlate because here was my path. Here's where I got into trouble. And I can see, even though it's not exactly the same scenario, but like I can see the signs where it's like, okay, here's where you might want to stop something.
Well, I will say this, that alcohol still plays a huge role in problems.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, and even in the judicial system, like you look at people that are locked up, like it's 85% of them is alcohol related. And I can attest to that you get to a point where you're drinking and you fucking say things and you do things that you'd never do. Where you sometimes if you smoke a bit of I wasn't a weed smoker, but when I did a little bit, I get a little bit high. I want to eat something and go to bed or whatever. But booze, start doing tequila shots, I'm a way different guy than eating a gummy bear.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's way different.
He likes coconut tequila. I'm like,
that's a great comment.
Oh my God.
Way different guy. Than eating a gummy bear. It's very true though.
The gummy bears,
big time.
Very true though.
But I mean, and then I remember too, like thinking back to when you were in Oak City and I'd get sent down there, you guys had a chaplain. But like, it's one thing to have a chaplain or a team mental health coach, but like, that's not the same. Like, it's not as easy. It's like, hey, just talk to the mental health coach.
It's not the same.
Or talk to the chaplain and admit and repent and tell God that you're going to be better next week. Like that doesn't do it.
No. Well, I don't know if you were to take a look at the list of people that are employed under the Edmonton Oilers.
Oh, it's quite robust
for staff.
Yeah.
You know, to have somebody, whether it would be myself or, you know, again, any of these guys that have sort of lived in recovery post hockey, to be around for some support with the minor league team, the East Coast, whoever the prospects are. Again, it's not financial. It would just be a matter of whether the guy could fit in with the team, you know, because guys are picky on who they let in, you know. But if you have street cred, like Gratz had big time street cred. You know, I played 10 years in the NHL and I did my thing. And so when you come in and have the cred, it's like you guys are building something amazing here with what you have. Your studio is incredible, and you know, your beer's taken off, and what did you say, number 3 bestseller in Alberta,
which is crazy. Like craft beer.
It's crazy. So that's so cool what you guys have built, and you guys have grinded and worked hard, and it's no different than when this thing gets out on Friday. It'll be the first time where I'm actually seeing somebody drink this thing and like cheers and like take pictures and like, you know, kick back and go, wow, like I've been in the grind for so long that I haven't really been able to even really appreciate it that much, you know? And I think with what I see when I walk in here, I'm sort of like shocked. You guys are sort of getting used to it in a way, but it's so cool to see how you guys have sort of just taken off.
It's been fun. It's cool to build something, create something.
Yeah.
Brent brought you some swag, by the way.
Oh,
you got quadruple XL. He said
quadruple XL.
Yeah.
I'm not that big.
I've got the T-shirt. Brent likes the good stuff too. I'm like, ooh, soft cotton.
I'm thinking the next round that I go, I don't know if I'm going to spend that much money on T-shirts, because my buddy's like, okay. I said, well, listen, we're the most expensive non-alcoholic beer by a couple dollars. So I go, how much is Corona for a 6-pack? Well, wholesale, it's a certain number. I said, okay. I go, I want to be $2 more. And we're, you know, the brand, the story behind the brand, the liquid, the branding, all of that kind of stuff that you pay for a premium product, right? So with the T-shirts, he goes, well, we can get these ones, you know, like the Brick uses them and all that kind of stuff. I said, well, let me feel them. So I feel them, feel like cardboard, right? And I go, what's the most expensive T-shirt you can find right now? And he goes, well, I don't know the name of this shirt, but I go, bring it in. So he brings it in and I feel it and I go, oh, that's nice. And he goes, yeah, but your margins. I said, I don't give a shit about margins right now. I said, I just want people to feel it and go, well, that's soft.
Yes, that's the first thing I said to you. I'm like, oh, Brent, like, the good stuff.
So anyways, people on Friday, we've got a table set up, and that'll be the first time too, as far as like, you know, people can buy the merchandise, and I'll have anybody that's listening that because my book got dropped in COVID, but anybody that has a book that wants to get it signed, they can come down. I think Century's opening the doors to their client list after 9:30.
Okay.
So from 7 to 9:30 is invitation, and then at 9:30 the doors open to some of the general public.
Yep.
So I'll have some books there to sign and all that good stuff.
Brent's launching Unhammered non-alcoholic beverage with our partners and friends at Alley Cat MKT Friday night, and go see him. Great storyteller, funny guy. And yeah, he has a penchant for the good stuff. Well, you got style too. Like I remember, well, we get to, like, I'm lucky. I worked with the Oilers for 8 years, and Pat Garland was nice enough to invite me to alumni skates, and you skate with they've opened it up to former NHLers. Bellsy, you know the alumni skates well. Cass goes. Gager used to go. He's got bad knees, obviously.
Don't let that. No, that's not why.
I know. I'm not giving him a hard time. Yeah. He got a little teary-eyed yesterday with his acceptance speech at the Estes. So that was the first, he was emotional, and I was like, "Oh my God, Joaquin, you do have a heart." Anyway, I remember the first time I knew you were skating there, and I hadn't met you before. I'm like, "Holy crap, that's Brent Myhres! Like that guy's scary." But you're like, leather jacket, you got this scarf. I'm like, oh, Brent Myhres got style. Like, yeah. And I'm like,
I learned that from Surrey.
Well, he's got style, man. Like,
Shelly's got some style going on.
Well, he's the man. Like, at God, well, you went down to God, so he's the man there.
He's always been into fashion and cars, and you know, he's just had a good eye for that.
Yeah.
You know, and you either have an eye for it or you don't.
Yeah, that's
one
true.
of the two. Unless you got a wife that has an eye for it, and then she can dress you. But
that's true.
Yeah.
But you can tell the guys that the wives like use them as their Ken dolls, and then you're like, he doesn't know how to wear that. His wife's doing that. Like, something's wrong here.
Yeah,
that's funny. I was like, holy crap, Brent Myhres could kick the living crap out of me, but he'll do it looking good. But that's anyway. I want to ask you this: like it's one thing to deal with NHL players, pro athletes. Have you had parents like reach out to you? Do you?
Yeah, all the time.
Do you make yourself available to them?
Yeah, it's a funny story. So I had time to kill yesterday, so I wanted to go to the Harley Davidson shop and look at some bikes. Mm-hmm. So I walk in, and I had that T-shirt on, and I'm walking around, and the sales guy is probably in his late 20s, and he goes, and he saw the tattoo. He goes, hey, what is that? And I go, oh, it's a company. And he goes, I know, but what is it? He goes, do you own that thing? He goes, you got a tattoo of it. And I go, yeah, I do. And he goes, well, what is it? I said, well, go to your computer. I said, put in www.unhammered.com. And so he clicks on it. He goes, oh, this is a non-elk. And I go, yeah. So this guy, won't mention any names, almost starts breaking down. About how he just almost got fired 5 minutes before that because of his drinking.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm sitting there listening to this, and he goes, wow. He goes, this timing for me couldn't be better. He goes, I almost got fired this morning because my drinking's getting out of hand. And he goes, do you have any advice? And I said, well, one, go to Google, put in painkiller. Mm-hmm. I said, and I walk you through everything in that book from start to finish, and it'd be a real good, $20 experience for you. And then I said, there's an AA meeting that if you're serious, if you go to there, maybe I'll meet you. I said, and it's Mondays at 7:30, and it's in a church. And he goes, I'll see you there. So anyways, my point is you meet random people all the time that like just sort of open up. And then when you have parents reach out about their children, which I get a lot of those, you try to be as respectful as you can, understand the situation, because sometimes you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And I had the willingness to get sober and stay sober. And the reality is that, today, there's going to be a lot of young kids that are dying because of this disease, and some don't make it. And actually, quite honestly, here's the percentages for me when I got into treatment. I said, so I really want to stay sober. What's the percentages of people that come to rehab? And they said, well, here's the percentages, stats across the board. So 4 out of every 100 will stay sober at least a year.
Wow. 4 out of 100.
4 out of 100.
4%.
4% will stay sober 1 year. And I said, well, I want to be at 4%, and that's how you got to look at it. Cause this thing's no joke. This thing talks to you daily that it wants to bury you, and you got to stay on it. So
it's insane.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, it really is.
Text us 780-218-9999. Portions of this hour brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club. Our good friend Murray McCourt. Go see him. We got a few more weeks of golf remaining. Course has been in tremendous condition all summer long. Bellsy, do you want to talk about Estes, or do you want to follow up with Brent? We got another hour to go here.
Well, we could talk Estes.
Okay. We need to invite you next year, by the way.
Yeah.
But we're starting. We're silly, as you know. Like you come on Hello Hockey with Shawn and I, but that's the weekend show. Now you're seeing like the day-to-day here.
Yeah.
So we knocked off the SBs and called it the Estes. We went out the Garno black tie formal. And
wait, you guys are black tie?
We went black tie formal.
You did?
Oh yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, people looked good yesterday.
They looked very
impressed.
good.
Yeah. Nice. It was nice. First, it was my first time there. Obviously, last year I had a kid. We were having a kid, so I didn't have the kid, but we were having a kid, and I wasn't able to make it out. And obviously, you kind of hear the stories, but you don't get to experience it firsthand. And it was an awesome event. Maddie did a great job. Yeah. All the boys did, and Jazzy being an absolute, she's turning into a villain, which is kind of funny.
Heel turn. We have a co-host on a Hangout twice a week, Jasmine.
She, it's funny because I was thinking about it as I was doing the presentation, and I'm like, I could have went on about Jazzy and all the stuff that she's up to for like 5 minutes, because it was like, okay, so she's got the tea gate where she poured out Eric's tea. Freshly made because she wanted coffee. I was like, that's wild. And then her being late all the time. And then, there was, what was the one that I was going to bring up the other day?
With Jasmine?
With Jasmine. She did something ridiculous where there was another controversy.
Well, she gives everybody the middle finger on camera.
Yeah, like that too. Like it's consistent. So I was like, I could list off so many things about Jassy, but she's also now just fully embracing all of that.
Her acceptance speech was full of sass.
It was so sassy.
Well,
it was great.
Matt Cassian came out. Matt's my co-host, our analyst on the Oilers Pre- and Post-Game show that we do. And he brought his wife, Amanda. And she's like, what is this? Yeah. This is ridiculous. Really? It's like, she's like, I feel like I'm inside the city's biggest inside joke.
No way.
That's exactly what it's like.
Yeah. So
it's fantastic, though.
That was one of our 4 majors. We do a golf tournament every summer. We do the ESTs. We do a bond spiel. We call it the fun spiel. That's coming up in February. And then we do a nasty bash because the AM show, the AM nasty that carried over from 1260. And
it's called the Nasty Bash.
Yeah. We do it at the St. Albert Rugby Club.
It does get nasty.
I love it.
Fergie's Prostate, one of our listeners who won an award yesterday, an SD. He'll play the bagpipes. He's the manager at the St. Albert Rugby Club.
Oh, yeah?
So, we got to get you out to some of these.
Absolutely.
The only thing I would add to it is I think you got to have a red carpet.
Where?
Not
we had a red carpet yesterday.
No, but not in the back where you're walking. When you're walking down the street, like you might as well. You're already hamming it up. You might as well put a red carpet down the road, and as people are walking, they make a big deal of it.
You mean like the Oscars or
right? Like it's outside before you even get to the building.
I hear what you're saying.
Like you just ham it up. It's already been hammed up, so you might as well just like put it over the top, and everybody that's driving by will be like, "What is going on over here?" Because now you got people walking down. There's like photographer, like, and you amp it up. That'd be the only thing I would change.
It's a bit tight on 109th Street.
100%. But that's my point, though. Like, think about how many people be like, "What is going on?" as they're coming around in the bend there, and they're like, "What?" So that it would be kind of funny.
I think it's funny. The staff at Gardo is like, "Who the hell are these people?
Yeah,
like what are they? What are they doing?" And I was like, just, "Never mind, we got this." Like, people are buying stuff. They're buying stuff.
I love it.
So speaking of Jazzy, she just sent a photo of us.
Oh, that's very nice. Yeah, I see that. So anyway, thank you to everybody who came out last night. Just incredible. Just a fun time as well. And I look forward to next year. Wannick did a great job, as per usual. All right, I know it's funny because you're like, don't ask me about McDavid.
Oh, here we go.
I'm kidding. We don't need to talk about it.
No, it's funny because I went for Thai food with my buddy yesterday, and Lorenzo, if you're listening, I call bullshit, but he goes, "Yeah, McDavid's going to sign. I heard it today." I said, "Really? From who?" He goes, "Oh, well, Elliot Friedman said it." I go, "Wait, he said he's signing? Like when? How much?" He goes, as soon as he goes, "I don't know, like around 16, I knew he was full of shit." I'm like, "You don't know what you're talking
going
about."
up, yeah.
Okay, buddy.
Yeah.
But okay. Well, what are you thinking?
Well, this is the most money the league has seen revenue wise, and these guys all want their piece, right?
Yeah.
And I think we forget that.
Yeah.
And I know in the media, like we have to like remind ourselves, like, no, the landscape is changing, but you guys were players. Like, you can only be in the league for so long. You want to maximize. Not that there's only one Connor McDavid, but like, can you understand? You guys went through negotiations.
Well, I mean, realistically, if you were to break everything down piece by piece, he's going into his 10th year in Edmonton. It's not like he's been here 2 years. It's not like he did a Kawhi in Toronto and left.
Yeah.
Guy's been here a decade. So, and he's up for a new contract, right? People are like, "Oh, well, his wife got a restaurant." Who cares? I go, he's gonna sign for $140 million. I go, that $400,000 for the restaurant. Like, somebody will sell the name, somebody will buy it.
True.
Who cares about the restaurant? And then number 2, you go by body language and what he says. Yes, I want to win in Edmonton. Yes, I want to win in Edmonton. Has he said, yes, I want to stay in Edmonton? The word has been win. Well, okay, I need to talk it over with my family. When? You just start talking last week? No, you've been talking with your agent for 1.5 years about this. Mm-hmm. So this has already been decided. It's set in stone, whatever he's going to do. Personally, I hope I'm wrong because I love this city and I love the last 2 finals and I love all of that. And 97 to me is, Air Jordan on skates.
Yeah.
I don't think he's staying.
Wow. Yeah. More people are starting to say that.
Yeah, I don't think he's staying. And I think that I said, if he's not signed by July 2nd, look out. And now we're going into camp. Did camp start today?
Yep.
Yeah.
Medicals and physical.
Okay, so now we're into camp with no contract, okay?
How is that not a distraction?
All right.
Well, that's the only issue I have.
Because it's not about money. We all know that. So if it's not about money, what is it about? Well, is it about the team that they put around them? What do you mean the team they put around them? They just went to the finals 2 years in a row. They got an unbelievable hockey team, right? It's not about that. Now, what it could be is if he's thinking about it financially, well, yes, there's reasons why people want to go to Florida. And there's reasons why people want to go play in Vegas, hence Mitch Marner, or in Dallas, or in Nashville. You save 8 or 9% on state tax and the cost of living, etc. So if it's financial and he's thinking about that, then I understand that. But now, this isn't about Connor McDavid. This isn't about the Edmonton Oilers. It's about one man, and his name is Stan Bowman. And I'll tell you this right now, behind closed doors, if he knows and they know the mood and the temperature of this talk, where it's going with his agent, and they feel that they're at a dead end, I'll tell you what, you're getting paid $4 or $5 million US a year to do something. You better put together the most incredible deal in the next week for this guy, because
that's a good point.
Because every day that goes by from here on in is, this sounds weird, but Connor's value lessens. So if he signs in December, he would have been worth more today. If he signs in February before the trade deadline, my point is, the longer you extend this, the less you're going to get. You'll get the moon for this guy. Listen, when the Oilers traded Gretzky in '88, everybody was crying and moaning and hanging signs and burning stuff. But then what do you know? They got back a bunch of young, good players, and they won a cup 2 years later. So if Edmonton, they trade McDavid next week or in 2 weeks or in a month, and they get back a bunch of studs that are like 22, 23 years old, and they go on and win a Stanley Cup, do you think they're going to miss them?
I'll say yes.
Well,
he's so good.
I don't.
But yeah, I know what you mean.
What I'm saying is there'll be the same amount of people having a parade downtown Edmonton with those guys as they would with Connor.
Yeah. Now, this is hypothetical. This is
specify this one big time.
We're getting fired up.
Now, it is hypothetical.
Yes.
I want Connor to sign tonight. I want that 19.2 a year.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is we're into training camp. He could have renegotiated July 1st. The body language, the words, I want to win, not I want to stay. Those are two really different words.
Interesting.
So, okay. There's a couple things here. For one, I keep going back to his first comments where I don't want this to become a distraction.
Yeah.
Well, Connor, this is all it is now.
Yeah.
Because at this point, these rookies went away, they played games, they did their things, they're talking about it. Mm-hmm. You got fans chanting it in other cities, talking about how he's leaving. So I get that it's his decision and he has to figure that out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you don't want it to be a distraction, then you got to do one of two things. Either you got to say, I'm signing, or you say, we're not talking about this anymore.
Sure.
Because it's going to become a distraction.
Doesn't matter whether he says that, though.
I agree with you.
Doesn't matter whether he says we're not talking about it. This is going to be front and
it's going to be the biggest story
every
out there.
day for the whole year
until something happens.
Until something happens.
Yep.
And that's why I said it's on Mr. Bowman, who I've always had a ton of respect for. But my point is that they're behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. None
Very
of us are.
Yep.
And he's the one talking to the agent and to whoever else, Mr. Jackson, whoever it may be. And they know the number and they know the term. And it ain't about, because I'll tell you, if Connor goes, I want 2 years at 20 or 19.5, and their backs are up against the wall, they're doing it.
100%.
So it's not about term and it's not about money. What's it about then? Well, I want to win. Well, okay, but you've had a pretty damn good team around you for the last 2 years. You went to the finals and you went to Game 7.
Yeah.
We still have a pretty good core here. So anyways, all I'm saying is that as an outsider who has nothing to do with it, I'm looking at how it's went since July 1st and the language that's been talked about. And I wished he would have said, on 32 Thoughts or whatever he was with Elliot Friedman.
Yeah.
Man, you know what? I've told everybody, obviously, I love it here and I want to stay and I want to win in Edmonton. If you would have added stay, I would have just backed right off my chair.
Well, and I think that's kind of my point, right?
But do you give away leverage by saying that?
But what's his leverage? He's going to get the moon.
Yeah.
He's going to get the moon no matter where he goes.
Anymore. He
point.
gets whatever he wants. So it's not about money and negotiations on financial stuff. It's like, Connor, whatever you want, we've told you, we're going to give it to you. What else is it?
But it's about the show that's going to go with it. Because what media people do is they want to fixate on that story.
Yeah.
So every place that you go, it's not even just be Edmonton. It's going to be
everywhere.
all over. So now all of a sudden you got Friedman.
Wait till he goes to Toronto.
Exactly.
Wait till he goes to Toronto.
And you got these guys that are arguably the biggest insiders in the game and some of the biggest people in our sport. And they're having a sit down and he's sitting there talking about it. But Connor, it is going to be a distraction. So
100%.
That's the one thing I'm like, when he said that and he came out with that, to me, initially it was like, okay, I'm ready to sign or I'm going to try to do something. But since then, the language and the body language that you're talking about seems to be completely different than that original conversation of, I don't want this to be a distraction. I'm focused on the season. Well, we're now sitting here, it's medicals today, and it is the biggest story out there. And it has become a distraction. It will become a distraction because when Leon, for the 455th time, somewhere in December, has to go, well, is Connor staying? Like, how do you feel about that? As opposed to, hey, I just got a hat trick again. It's gonna start to play in people's minds. And the reality is, like you mentioned, it's not going to go away until he signs or something happens.
Yeah.
So that would be point number one for me. Point number two is like, and you mentioned it already, when it comes to the winning, I sit back and I say, well, who else in the NHL is in the window to win? Florida, that's just, we all know that. Edmonton, whether we agree they're better or worse, it doesn't really matter. They're still in the window. Toronto, has that window started to open up? Maybe. But who else outside of maybe those three teams is ready to win right now?
Ready to win now? I think there's a couple teams that are on the fringe.
Dallas?
Yeah, I don't.
Vegas?
They've been talking about Dallas for a while, and I still think for some reason Vegas is always still hanging around. And now they got Mitch Marner, who I think is going to work excellent with Eichel. So I think they're going to be actually. You know what? Vegas is going to be tough for sure. They always talk about Winnipeg pushing through, and for some reson they can just never push.
Well, he's not going to go. He's not going to go to Winnipeg. So we can cross that one off the list.
But if all of a sudden, Bowman calls Drury in New York. Then goes, hey, Shesterkin, Fox, Zibanejad for 97. What do you think?
I don't think it's enough.
Okay. Okay. I'll reserve my comment on that one. But anyways,
that's a blockbuster.
That's a haul for sure.
But my point is now and I love Skins. I love Skins. Like, again, you do not make it back-to-back finals 2 years in a row with a bad goalie. So him and Picard, awesome. Love them. Keep them. Cheap. All I'm saying is that Shesterkin, Fox, Zibanejad, and a first rounder. Woo! You really got to think about that at some point.
That's
and you're making, it's not like you're devaluing your team. You bring a package like that back to Edmonton. You're definitely, you're missing out on to me, the most.
But okay,
that's
so
kind of like the Lindros trade. I know there's like a million pieces in that, but like that set the Avs up huge for like 10 years.
Huge. Okay, that's what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that it'd be devastating for the fans, for et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Like, and again, people will be focusing on him leaving, but what are you getting back? And that's too where you're like, now the fans are like, wow, we got that and that and that and that. And you're like, yeah. And you're like, okay, cool. Like, so it's not all bad if he ends up getting traded.
Hypothetical.
Again, everything is just
specify that.
Everything is hypothetical for sure. We're just throwing spaghetti against the wall, and a lot of it is not going to stick. But we can end the McDavid thing. I say he's not an Oiler come trade deadline.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's bold.
Yeah.
That is. that would break the hearts.
Oh, yes.
There would be a lot of upset people.
Again, like Dusty and I on Oil Stream a couple weeks ago, hypothetical, we said, could he become a villain? And I'm like, yeah, because it would break hearts.
Yeah.
You made an interesting point. Again, if this were to go that route, this whole scenario, and all of a sudden, Connor is indicating to the Oilers, guys, I'm not sticking around. Hypothetical, if that were to happen. And he tells Oilers management that. I think they would have a very limited window. I'm talking a few days to turn something around quickly, because as soon as calls go out, even entertaining trading him, that's going to leak. That's going to leak. And we'll start to hear the rumors and the insiders talk about it, because these GMs can't keep their mouths shut. And that will also, it's like the game within the game.
They'd open their mouth on that one.
Oh yeah. You don't think like if
you're around the room though, Tom,
if
you're way in deeper than I am. I thought that if you had Gretz in there and you had whoever else is in that room, those three guys in that room that are talking about this deal, I can't imagine why anybody would want to leak that to the media.
Well,
That's
because
insane.
okay, imagine this is again hypothetical. Like Stan and Jeff Jackson are like, okay, this isn't going to work out for him here. So we got to flip and get some assets, like you're talking about potentially. So you call a couple of GMs and you go, you can't talk about this, but hey, what kind of package could you put together?
Yeah.
Those GMs, I guarantee you, would say something to some of the insiders, and the word would get out, and then all of a sudden...
But he's already done that, Tom.
But they would use that as leverage, because like you said, you know how you said day by day, his value would go down if it doesn't happen.
Correct.
You get the public the public knowledge out there that he's available, and then now all of a sudden it cranks the heat up on Edmonton, hypothetically.
Sure, but they're so limited to Connor's 4 teams.
If he has those.
Right, like
we're playing the hypothetical.
Again, hypothetical, there's 5 teams on this list, right? And we all know all of them are south of the border except maybe one. So anyway,
I'm not smirking.
Anyways, listen, guys, I want to bring my son Kane to a game with his 97 jersey on this year and say, son, you get to watch that guy for the next 8 years, the best player in the world. I want that, but I'm just, I've been around a while. I'm going off language and I'm going off the reality that it's training camp and there is no deal still. And I'm going off the reality. It's not about money. And it's not about term. So that's what I'm going off.
What if he's just playing us all?
I think part of me thinks that's what's happening. Go ahead.
No, he ain't that type of guy. No. He's not a Shawn Avery. He's not that.
And what
type
if
of
it's
guy.
the day before, the day of the first game?
Great.
We got
wicked.
Fantastic.
That'd be amazing.
What if he's just playing us all?
That'd be amazing. Again, I'm bringing Kane with his 97 jersey.
Boom.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
100%. I mean, how often do you get to have the best player? In my opinion, I mean, granted, every era is different. I don't want to get into that. But for this era, I mean, this guy is, well, I'll tell you what, I think they're 1A, 1B. Like, my God, Leon Draisaitl to me is I watch that guy play too, and I say to myself, man, he's like a big, even better Yari Curry. In a way, Curry had 70, but the goalie's pads were like toothpicks. So I could have had 50.
Darren Pang's head barely goes over the crossbar.
He could skate under the crossbar.
Yeah, you're right.
He can skate under the crossbar. Hey, who's that kid in that? Oh, that's Darren Pang.
It's like, is this bring your kid to work day?
No,
he's an NHL goalie.
When Panger was in net, you just take a bobblehead and you just set him down.
It's the same thing.
That's how big he was.
Oh my! Such a nice guy, though.
Sorry, Panger.
Great broadcaster, but he's itty bitty. That's so funny. I will add this, like, all joking aside, like, and we read into everything that Connor says. He spoke today or yesterday to Elliot and Kyle on 32 Thoughts. But this is something I forgot about. Like, when Jeff Jackson came in, he told all of the brass, no leaks. He hates leaks, and he made it a mandate. Nothing gets out.
Good.
And I feel like we're forgetting that right now. And I think what Connor's saying, like, Brent, you could be 100% right. Like, his language, what he's saying, if we read into it, these indicators aren't good. Or he's just being ambiguous because he's letting the process play out and they're keeping it tight. If they're actually standing by that MO that Jeff put forward when he took over. And I'm like, oh yeah, Jeff like hates leaks. That was one of the things that he wanted to end as soon as he took over. He's like, I don't want everybody knowing what's going on. Like, I have to scratch and claw for like crumbs.
Yeah.
Like, Stoff is obviously dialed in. The big boys like Friedman, Drager, CJ, Pagnotta, like they're dialed in, but like
they never really give you much either, though. When it comes to this kind of stuff, I mean, you know, you're not going to get. You're going to get the same thing that's been said for the last 2 months. Yeah. I mean, there's another situation too. Connor could be saying this. It's not about the money, sweetheart. Lauren is her name, right? Mom and dad, it ain't about the money. We know we're, blah, blah, blah. But what I am going to do is I'm going to play the season out. I'm going to commit to this city and this dressing room. And I'm going to try and win. I'm going to try and do this again. I'm going to try and win a Stanley Cup with this team. And if we fail, if I come up short, then my option is at that point to test free agency. But I'm not going to sign. I'm just going to play out the year. There's another option there where he just plays the year out and tries to win a cup. Yeah. Even if the Oilers try to trade him because they know now, oh my God, it's March. Haven't got him signed. The problem is Connor's got all the cards. So
of course.
So even if they want to trade him, he's got to agree to that. He might just say, "Nah, I'm going to play it out." So I guess we'll see. I'm hoping to bring Kane again with his 97 jersey on. Opening night.
That would be lovely.
Yeah, yeah.
We got texts that are coming. What do you got, Belle?
No, this is just this conversation sucks.
I know.
It literally sucks. As a guy, I know, but still, I just think about it, and you're like, man, the Oilers have been so close to winning for the last 2 years, and the last 4 years they've lost to the eventual Cup winner. And you're like, could McDavid actually want to leave? But that the longer this goes, the more that creeps in, and the more that other fan bases they start poking, and it just
they're poking.
Oh man!
Well, what point?
It sucks. It's a bad conversation.
At what point do you guys sit in this chair in this talk show? At what point do you guys sit here and go, "Uh-oh"? At what point?
I say game one of the season. I'm very
okay. So you're
I'm
game one. You're game one. What
season.
about you?
Where I say, "Uh-oh."
Yeah,
this is not good.
Yeah, like really not good.
I would say Christmas break.
Yeah, I'm sort of with you on that. I think it's a little bit before, but I think if Santa Claus is riding those reindeer around and there's not a big bag of money floating to Rogers.
I love that. Hey, tell Santa to stop at my balcony on the way. I'll take some of that money. Yeah, Daddy's got a mortgage.
Then there's trouble.
Yeah,
there's trouble.
I like that. Okay, we're gonna get to some text.
Can I do one hypothetical before we get there?
Of course.
The Oilers, they're closing in on the trade deadline. Okay, but they're in 5th place in the league. There's rumblings behind the scenes. He's not going to re-sign.
So you're at the trade deadline now?
You're about let's call it 3 weeks away from the
trade deadline.
But you're humming along.
Okay. Oh, you're humming along.
You're humming along. You're like 5th in the league.
Yeah.
But you're hearing rumblings.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
He's not going to stay.
Okay.
Nasty chat. This is called hypothetical. I'm playing this game right now.
Yeah.
What do you do?
That's a way tougher spot. But at that point, those rumblings, they're already set in stone. At that point, whoever's behind the scenes knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's the tough decision that Mr. Bowman has to make is when do I pull the trigger?
Yeah.
Right? When do I pull the trigger? And it's all about what's coming back. So again, that whole hypothetical Shesterkin, Zibanejad, and Fox, well, that ain't happening on trade deadline. That's happening now, but it ain't happening on trade deadline.
Because you're at the mercy of the other teams.
Exactly, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. It's that it takes a set of, you know what, to put those on and go, okay, Jeff and so, let's get in a room here. And we really got to figure this out because we're getting the feeling from that camp that no matter what we've offered, which we have, no matter what we've agreed to on term, which we have, they've said no, not right now.
Yeah.
So what do? Do we do what Bellsy does and just play it out and pray that come trade deadline and we're rolling along, we keep them, or do we do something now? I would not want to be in that spot.
Oh, I don't like this.
The hypothetical
I don't
game
like it at all
sucks right now.
Yeah, stupid hypothetical game.
Damn hypothetical. This is the Hangout. Tom Gazzola, Brent Myhres, and Shawn Belle with you. You can text us 780-218-9999. Brent is launching Unhammered, non-alcoholic beverage. Friday, MKT, open to the public. You said you have the VIP 7 to 9, right?
Yeah, 7 to 9:30 is invitation.
Yeah.
And then 9:30, Century sent it out to their client list.
Yep.
But some people want to show up and say hi,
Yeah, hang out, have a good time, sample the new delicious beverage. Alley Cat you're working with. We love Alley Cat. They've been great. Going on 3 years now that we've done 6 o'clock or lager. It's been phenomenal. So,
excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
They're the best. Okay, text. Here we go. Because people are getting antsy. This is what happens. I think this is Pete and Devin. Says, just throwing it against the wall here. Make the league think Connor's leaving. Would that handcuff some teams somewhat around trade deadline? Then day after trade deadline, Connor signs with the Oilers. I like this, like, screw with other teams, mess with them.
Yeah. Well, give me an example when that's ever happened.
Right.
I don't know of any potential unrestricted that signed a day after trade deadline.
Doesn't happen.
That just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Can we just talk about one thing that I'm seeing it in the nasty chat and you hear it lots. So McDavid's been here for a decade, right? People, there's a bit of a narrative going around or starting to form where it's like he wants to leave because the Oilers have utterly failed at building a team around him for the last 10 years.
That narrative.
Failed?
And this is why I want to bring this up because I just
crazy.
literally
That's
saw
harsh.
it go by, and somebody, I think it was KD, that said, guys, like they just went to the last 2 cup finals. Like
You said it. They lost to the
lost
cup,
four.
cup winner 4 times in a row.
Incredible what they've done.
Yeah.
outside of the first couple years where Chiarelli was around and he made some trades that may or may not have set them back a little bit.
100% set them back.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Outside of those particular years where I will agree at that point, the team wasn't being necessarily built around him and there could have been more with some, like if you don't pull off some of those trades. But since he's been gone, that's all they've been doing is trying to put a team around him.
Yeah.
Like when Ken Holland, and I know that he takes some grief for some of the moves that he's made, but if you look at the roster that was there before he came in and to what it looked like after he left, it's night and day. And like you actually it's comical how different the lineups are.
Well, I mean, again, I don't think people understand. It's a given when you have Connor and Leon that you think you're going to make it to the finals every year. But the odds of any team going back to back, it's very rare. And I think that with the Oilers, that they brought up Bush, and you pay Bush, and you pay Bush. Mr. Skinner, from what I understand, has played 100 more games than Mr. Wolf.
Yep.
With I think, almost identical numbers. And Mr. Skinner is going to get paid in the summer of next year.
The Spencer Knight deal boosted him up.
Yeah.
And Wolf. Like,
and Wolf.
Yeah.
So and this guy's been to the finals twice. And he's a 26-year-old goaltender in his prime. He's going to get paid. So, I'm not a cap expert, but you back the Brinks up for 97. He averages out 19, 19.5, 18.9, whatever it is. And you got Skins coming on the books next year. He's going to make 7. 6, whatever, minimum 6.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Something around there. Yeah, you got to manage the cap too, right? Like we're talking about trades and stuff, but there's a cap that you got to worry about, even though it is, I understand, going up.
Yeah. Okay. This text came in, and it's interesting because you guys, you were with the Oilers briefly.
Oh yeah, briefly.
Yeah. You were with the Oilers for a season.
Were we in camp together?
No, we were.
Where did we skate?
We used to skate together all the time, but
my dad loved you. He loved you. He thought you were the next Bobby Orr.
Oh, I tried to be. Until I ran into a guy named Kevin Constantine.
Oh my God. You and Cass love Kevin Constantine.
So I'll quickly. So Kevin Constantine was the type of guy that was just like, he was analytics before analytics, right? So I got drafted because I could move a puck and I could skate really fast and I could rush pucks. Like I was pretty good at it.
Yeah.
And so one game, I remember I was rushing the puck and he goes, "Hey, when you get to the red line, that thing goes in."
Ugh.
I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "No, it goes in." And so anyway, finished the game, did my thing. He pulls me in the office. He goes, "You know what?" He goes, "Do you think you're Nick Lidstrom or something?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well," he goes, "you pass pucks through the middle all the time. You don't go off the glass and out." And I was like, "Okay." Just I go to the middle because if there's a guy wide open there, I'm going to pass him the puck.
This is after you went in the first round?
This is after I went in the first round. This is my second year of pro.
Oh, okay.
So, pretty influential years. But the year before I was up with Minnesota already.
Yeah.
And so he came in and he basically was like, "Okay, here's what you're going to do from now on. You're not passing the puck through the middle. If you skate it, it's going red and in. You're not going to be the first guy on the rush or trying to do that stuff anymore. And it's off the glass as well." So that completely took my game away. And I just became this defensive defenseman.
Who was the GM?
Doug Riseborough at the time. But while that was happening, Constantine is sitting there saying, "Well, I don't think he really wants." And he tried me at forward too.
Wow.
He put you up
He
front?
tried to put me up front.
Wow. Did he want you to fight because you're so big?
Nope. He didn't want me to fight.
No.
But he wanted me to be, if I was playing defense, I was a defensive defenseman, not utilizing anything that tried to get me to where I was. And if I played forward, here's the funniest part of it. I was a second liner.
What?
Oh, really?
It was me and Wardo and Marco. Oh my God.
Oh, Mark?
No, his first name was Marco. Oh, I can't remember his last name, but we were the second line.
Wow.
And I remember going in and listen, like I've always tried to be a team guy. And I said, "Listen, man, I'm not going to play forward anymore. I'm going to play D because that's my position."
Man, that's tough. But
And I said, because what you're doing right now is
a little bit embarrassing too.
you're taking away a spot from a forward that deserves to be there.
100%.
And you're going to put me on the second line. You know how disrespectful that is? So you're telling me as a defenseman, I can't even rush the puck and do what I do really well.
Yeah.
But then you're going to put me on the second line?
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
no.
come on,
That's
man.
that's a tough spot to be in. No doubt.
So anyway,
So Kevin Constantine.
Kevin Constantine, wicked guy.
Cass is a big fan
But
too.
no, we used to skate together here at all the different skates that LaRock used to hold.
Yeah.
So that's how we became tight.
Yeah. Because my dad, you remember my dad, right?
Yeah. But then we would always see each other at the different camps. And the last time I think we saw each other was when you were down in you got sent down from Calgary.
to Omaha?
Yeah.
To Omaha?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
After the fight,
Yeah,
you and George won, where you guys got set up by a particular media member.
Yeah.
And then that was the last time I saw you until we saw each other.
That was 05.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy
times.
Wow.
Okay, this is why I love this. The connection. And then, okay, local guys, you have your familiarity with this market, the franchise. This text came in and it says, only the Oilers would be in a situation where every other team not named the Florida Panthers would kill to be in their position and their superstar might leave because of a lack of success. I've seen, this is not unique to that particular texter. I've seen that rhetoric pop up. It's like, well, only the Oilers can be in this situation. Why is it always the Oilers? You guys have been around the league, played for other teams, you're from the area, been a part of the organization in one form or another, do you buy this is an only Oilers situation? Because some people see it that way.
Well, I mean, didn't this happen 300 kilometers south of here with Tkachuk and Gaudreau? Like, you would have thought you could have signed one of them. Both of them left.
Yeah.
You know, that was insane that both guys left Calgary. And then one guy goes on and wins 2 cups or whatever. But
It's about
you got to be careful.
in Vancouver as well.
Van.
It's going to happen in Van.
But the grass isn't always greener, hence Jerome Iginla. Going to Colorado, going to Boston, blah, blah, blah.
LA, Pittsburgh.
The grass isn't always greener, you know. Like, my point is that, like, yes, sometimes it may work out. Ray Bork, you know. But there's guys that they'll chase and they'll chase and they'll chase and they won't get it, you know. But it's the Stanley Cup is just, for Edmonton, I guess it would be for 29 and 97 being considered the 2 best players on the planet. The pressure I can't even imagine the gut-wrenching pain that you'd go through to make it to the finals, and especially in the first year of Game 7, and come up short, and then come up short next year, and that knowing that in order to be called in the one of the greats, you got to have hardware, man. You got to have hardware, you know.
Yeah.
And look at Ovi; it took him 11 years, but Ovi finally got the hardware, and all the greats, they've got more than one. They've got at least 2. So who knows? Maybe this year they crush it and he signs and they crush it and Edmonton goes on. We get that nice parade next summer and they go on a little bit of a dynasty. You know, they get 2 cups in 4 years or something like that, like Pittsburgh did in 09 or whatever year that was. But anyways, why did I go there?
But it's not only the Oilers situation. Like,
It's not just the Oilers.
it's not.
It's across the league.
there is people who believe it's like, oh, of course the Oilers. Edmonton always ends up in this situation.
It's because Canadian cities are a pressure cooker, right? This is the only team we have that we have the Elks, but it's not the same level as the Oilers. The Oilers, people eat, sleep, and breathe the Oilers. You go down the road to Calgary, it's the same thing. You go west of us, it's the same thing with Vancouver. You go east of us to Winnipeg, it's the same thing. And it's even more amplified in Winnipeg because they lost their team and now they're back.
Yeah.
So your hockey is our main sport. And because we don't have these massive NFL franchises or we have MLB franchises for the most part across Canada, we fixate on our team.
Well,
So being here in the city, you fixate on it and you see certain things and you immediately go, it's only us. But that's happening everywhere else.
You're right, but here's another pressure that we haven't talked about yet, which is real. If you listen and believe those words, I want to win here. What happens in 15 games if they're 31st overall?
They were 2 years ago.
Okay, 20 games then. My point is what happens in 2 months if this team is not doing well? Then what? Then you want to talk about pressure and noise? Then it's like that. Now it really gets amped up to the point. We've always been thinking, they're going to be top 1 and 2 in the conference or whatever it may be, or in the division. What if they're not? What if they come out of the gates and they don't do well?
Well, they've got a lot of question marks.
Well, so that's my point. Is like, oh no, that you want to talk about noise. Let's see if these guys don't come out hot.
What was that start? 3-9-2 or whatever.
Yeah. And they went on a big roll after that.
They had a 16 game hitter, but this city was going crazy for the worst reasons.
And that wasn't in a situation like we are now with a guy that only wants to win, right?
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, it's tough, but I can't think of a bunch of teams that would win because what you have to give up if it's a trade scenario puts you in a different position. Like I get it. He's the best player in the world, but it also takes time for those teams. If you have that trade scenario happen, like you talked about with the Rangers, well, you lose those 3 players as Rangers and you get him, Are you in a position to win? I don't think you are, because you still need some pieces to get back to where that is.
You're
right.
You're right. It's not just a one-man show.
And so that's why I always ask the question of like, okay, so who in the league is ready for that? Well, Florida is, but they can't afford it, right? So Tampa, yes, the cap's going up, but Tampa's one of the upper echelon teams anyway, and they're getting older. So then you got to say, well, what's the teams that are on the precipice of becoming those contenders?
Does he pull a Gretzky in '88 and go to the worst team in the league, Chicago, and build around Chicago? I mean, like,
Hey, Chicago's a great city. What a town! I mean, come on.
I'm just saying, he does like hypothetical.
Yes.
You know,
The one that I see, guys, and this worries me to all hell. It's the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh God! Stop it with the Toronto Maple Leafs stuff.
For some reason, I don't
being
see.
honest with you.
I don't see that for some reason. I don't know.
It terrifies me.
But
it's
you're
Toronto.
in real cap problem, man. If you've got 34 and you've got Nylander, and then you got 97 on that team.
The cap's going up quite a bit.
True.
And you just pulled a $10 million player out of your lineup.
10 mil's gone, but you're adding 9 to that, right at 19. So, and you got 34 making 14, or whatever you make.
That's the one team that actually scares me. And the reason it scares me is not because of him going to Toronto. It's because of the fan base and how arrogant they are and how loud and obnoxious they'll be.
It's painful.
Oh, it would kill me. And Sportsnet and TSN would be just going crazy.
Why don't we get a GoFundMe to get George Larocque back in shape?
But I'll run a GoFundMe for that.
I'll run him up the stairs Monday to Friday. Okay. Yeah. I'll skate with them. Okay.
You guys have good relationships.
The
with
parachutes.
them.
We're gonna get Big George back in shape because we're gonna put George on that bench, and we're gonna make it like the old Semenko days where he comes back and puts some. But in all fairness, I think the team needs sandpaper. And the teeth need to be a little bit longer, and you saw that with guys that just burying guys in the playoffs. You got the Kachucks and the Bennetts and even the back end, they were playing like you know what?
Yeah, Ekblad was
just playing
when did
miserable.
You turn into a badass?
But they get results, and so Edmonton, who can you go and get that can add that type of, I guess, the grit or the sandpaper.
Well, you're going to hate this, Tom, and I know why, but the reality is there's not a lot of players out there.
No,
that's true.
No.
But there's
why do I hate that?
Well, no, just I'm going to throw a name out there, and you're going to be like, this is stupid because the reasons he left were dumb anyway. But like a Klim Kostin that plays 40 games or 30 games could provide you something like that on your fourth line for those particular games.
Is he in LA?
No.
Well, he's a free agent, I think now.
Oh, really?
I don't think it's dumb. I don't have anything against Klim Kostin. I just have been told they're not interested in him.
Yeah, which is fair.
Because can't play defense, can be slow at times. But sometimes you make a big play, score a big goal. I know he loved it here. You fight, hit.
Well, okay, then, if we're calling a spade, what did you think of Frederick's outing?
But it's the high ankle sprain the whole time. It wasn't good.
Yeah, but the high ankle sprain is pretty far from the heart, though. My point is
the body work wasn't good. To answer your question,
my point is the 8-year deal at whatever he's making a year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Here's the thing, though, which is wild, is when they traded for him, I'm like, he's one of my favorite players. I loved him in Boston.
Yeah. He was so good in Boston.
He was so good in Boston, and his fights that he had, and he was mouthing guys off, and I'm like, that's exactly what the Oilers need.
Yep.
And then 8 games in, I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
But now, not saying that he can't this year come into camp and be that guy that he was in Boston, which I think he can.
Yep.
I do. It's there for 100%. Ankles healed, whatever. All I'm saying is that I was really hoping to see the player in Boston in Edmonton. And I'm hoping that we get to see that this year.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Yeah, and I agree with you because when you look at that lineup in Florida, you're looking across from me, and you got
there's your counteractor.
yeah,
right
like
there.
those are the guys. The Bennett's, he's a skilled player, one of their best, but he's got snarl, right? Like the Chucks, like guy, and it makes guys feel bigger, and you know how that works. And when you look at the Oilers, you had Kane, right? But Kane was getting goaded into a lot of nonsense by the Chuck. And it took him off of his game.
Yeah.
Like when Kane's playing, he's heavy on the forecheck. He's kind of running his mouth a little bit, and he's dictating the terms and how this is going to play out.
Yeah,
I didn't think that happened, and I thought that if you could have like a Frederick, and he's doing the same thing now, everybody's a little bit bigger, and there's more of a deterrent to what Florida was doing, but it just didn't work out that way. And so now you remove Kane out of the lineup. Okay, well you got Frederick, that's fine, but who else is there?
Is he on the third line?
Probably
Trent.
Yeah,
Right
Mangiapane will be fine.
Flexibility, like they slide up and in game.
Could they play him a few shifts here and there on the big line?
Sure.
Yep.
Why not?
Just to say, hey, hey, I'm here.
I think we'll probably see that.
You know what I mean?
Honestly,
Because
Brent,
I'd
we'll
like
probably
to see that too.
Yep.
I'd like to see that a little more when, like, let's say the score's like 4-1, 5-1 in the third. Put Freddie up there.
Yeah.
Let him play the rest of the game with that line.
Yeah.
And let Connor and those guys do what they got to do.
Yeah.
Right?
I could see that.
Or start the game with those guys. Start and line up, put Freddie out with Connor and whoever.
Yep.
And then just get a couple big hits. But anyways, my point is I loved him in Boston, and I was and all of a sudden I didn't know if it was the injury or whatever it was. I hope that he can regain what he had.
I think everybody here does. Okay, we only have a few minutes left.
Okay.
We have about 7 minutes.
Can we just talk 27 minutes on Connor McDavid?
Damn, we probably go to like 27. Okay, we got a few minutes left. Brent Myhres, Shawn, Belle, Tom Gazzola with you here on the EST Hangout. Of course, Edmonton Sports Talk presented by Play Alberta. We're not going to do over-under today. We're going to do in honor of training camps opening up today. It's medicals and physicals. That's happening right now at Rogers Place. I like to call it on the media side, hurry up and wait day.
Yeah.
Give me, you got a couple minutes, Brent, a training camp story, good or bad, and then Bellsy, one from you.
Okay, me?
Yep,
Training
go
camp
first.
story?
Yeah.
Okay, so it would have been my rookie year, and we had to do the VO2 bike test.
Sounds
right?
like a blast.
Okay, it was so much fun. And anyway, so I do it. I didn't think I did that good. And Phil Esposito calls me in the room the next day, and he goes, Brant, he goes, listen, he goes, how did you think you did on the bike test? I said, I don't know. You tell me. He said, well, I'll tell you what. He goes, not only were you the last person in camp with the worst VO2 test, Manon Rion, like knocked you out of the park. And I said, you pay me to fight, not to ride the bike, Phil.
Great answer.
That was it.
Oh, that's great. I like that one.
What? Phil Esposito still hangs around the Tampa Bay press box. He's still around.
Yeah.
What was he like?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Loved him. I mean, he'd go to the tanning bed before practice.
Oh, yeah.
And he'd be just black when he came to the rink. But and he'd always say, look good, feel good, play good. And he wanted to put tanning beds in the room
I'm
for
not
the guys.
surprised.
That is so good.
That guy, he is like, when I think 70s hockey, I go,
Oh, yeah.
Phil Esposito.
Legend. He's a John Travolta.
Yes.
Of
Big collars, flared bell bottoms. Hey, how's it going? The rings and stuff like that. He's a Paisan.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, Bellsy, training camp story.
Nothing really crazy happened to me, but
come
I
on.
do remember one story. It's about Stu Barnes, and I thought it was the funniest thing. So we were in Dallas, and we were doing our fitness testing. We had to do the shuttle runs and all that fun stuff. And Barnesy's sitting there, and he's got his coffee, and he's watching all the guys run. And JJ, the trainer, he's like, okay, Barnesy, you're up on the pull-ups. He looks at JJ, and he's like, do I really got to do it? He's like, Barnesy, come on, man. He's like, there's young kids around. Like, do something. So he goes, hold my coffee. So he gives him the coffee. He goes up on the chin-up bar. He does one, gets off, takes his coffee back, goes, thanks for the day. See you later.
He did one. He did one.
He did one on purpose.
One pull-up?
Yeah, one pull-up. Came back down, took his coffee back, and left.
Wow. That's
that is good, right there.
that's good.
The legend of Stu Barnes.
Stu Barnes. I was like, man, that was awesome.
That's good.
I like what he did there.
Nice
I
work,
respect
Barnesy.
that.
Yeah.
Great stories. Okay, a couple minutes left. Let's pump up Unhammered. Brant, one more time for those that maybe missed it earlier in the show. what's coming up on Friday. What have you been cooking up, and how can people find out more, or maybe come down and experience?
Yeah, unhammered.com. Our website's there for any info on the product, and it's a non-alcoholic beverage, a beer with a little vitamin D in it for you to make you feel good too.
Why did you do the vitamin D? I know you said Corona has it, but like what made you go, can we please do this?
I think it stemmed from when I first had the Corona. Mm-hmm. I didn't look at the bottle. I was at a Mexican bar and I drank it and I said, oh, that tastes good. And I put it down and I looked and it said, has vitamin D. And I go, oh, and it's good. It has some qualities that's good for me to drink. I go, that's cool. So then I just said, hey, I want to put vitamin D in it. And that's sort of where it came from. And so Friday we'll be at MKT. And at 9:30, I believe some people can come. And then it should be in the grocery stores and liquor stores by next week.
And you're working with Alley Cat on that.
With Alley Cat, we partnered with them, and they've just been awesome so far.
Shout out to Alley Cat. Just celebrated their 30th anniversary.
Yeah, I was there for that. It was great.
Yeah, such a good crew. You talked about Cam, Sarah, Paige. Oh, I feel like I'm forgetting a bunch of people.
Lachlan.
Yeah. Great.
Mike. Yeah, good guys.
Great local company. So this is a cool venture. And the other thing too is like the non-alcoholics is becoming a bigger thing.
Yeah.
It legitimately is.
So it is. Yeah.
We're hopping on that. So we got a new non-alcoholic beer coming out with Alley Cat, with Brandt. Go check it out. Unhammered.com, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Bellsy, what's going on? You're back at the rink every day.
I'm back at the rink, and my phone's blowing up.
You better not show up with a Shesterkin jersey on today. You got a Fox one on.
Just waving that.
It's like, what are they trying to say to us?
Yeah, I mean, you guys are going to get just grilled after I leave for this conversation. I put you guys in a bad spot today.
No, that's part of the fun.
It's great.
That's the organized chaos.
Sometimes it's nice to spice it up a little bit.
Why not, right?
Get people on their toes, because I'm looking at the nasty chat and I'm just like, guys are pissed about this.
Oh, yeah. Hypothetical.
Yeah, I love it.
This has been a really, really fun show. I'm glad you came in. You'll come back sometime, right? And we'll have you on Hello Hockey.
Yeah.
People really loved your story on Hello
Absolutely.
Hockey. We get going on September 27th.
Yep.
Excellent.
This could be a lot of fun. To everybody that came out to the Estes, thank you guys so much once again. It was a wonderful night. Couldn't do it without you guys. Can't have shows like this without our audience. So big shout out, round of clicks to everybody. Big thank you to Brent Myhres, Shawn, Belle. For the boys, I'm Tom Gazzola saying thank you for listening to the EST Hangout. Coming up next, it's the Lock Shop. Stay locked on to Edmonton Sports Talk. We'll talk to you later.
Look at this. Let's go.
There you go, right in front of the camera.
First-time guest, long-time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanek, Tom Zola with here. Joining us today,